From WVLT, you're watching Mark Packer, Lauren Davis, and Chief Meteorologist David Aldrich on Local 8 News, First at 4.
All right, welcome back to First at 4. Let's get back to that big story of the day. The shooting in Chattanooga, they killed 4 people, including the suspected gunman. We do have team coverage as we continue to learn more details of this breaking news story.
Yeah, we go first to Local 8 News reporter Kelsey Lehrer, who talked to businesses right there at the shooting.
Yeah, that's right, Lauren. It's been a couple hours since the shooting here down off Lee Highway, but the markings of that shooting are still extremely raw. I'll step out of the shot so you can take a look at the building. If you can see, as we zoom in, multiple gunshot holes in the sides of those buildings on those doors. I counted earlier from a distance, I counted nearly 30 holes, so dozens of holes in that building right now. Now, neighboring businesses tell me it was a terrifying time where they had no idea what was going on. Now, they said they were still kind of confined to that area for a little bit until they were released. I talked to a man who said his wife was in the Cricket building, which is right next door to this career center. She says she called him frantic, didn't know what was happening. She said she believed there was a gunman outside. She was panicked, and he immediately came down.
My wife, she works at the Cricket building, and she called me from work, and she said, hey, they out here shooting. And I thought she was joking. And, you know, I looked at the news at my job, and I just see the Cricket building on the news, so I had to hurry up and get down here.
Yeah, guys, and actually a touching memorial has already been set up here right outside the police caution tape. A woman came by earlier very quietly with her dog and a flag. She laid it down with some roses and a sign that said, "In our thoughts and prayers." Now there are some people that are gathered around that area right now. A very touching memorial with some unspeakable tragedy. Reporting live in Chattanooga, Kelsey Lehrer, VLT, Local 8 News.
Thanks, Kelsey. And as we've mentioned, there was a second shooting location at the Naval Reserve Center on Amnicola Highway where 4 Marines were killed. Then the gunman, Muhammad Youssef Abdulaziz, died nearby.
Yeah, let's head back out that direction. Local 8 News reporter Brittany Nada is there and does continue our team coverage. Brittany.
Mark, Lauren, I'm just across the street where it's likely that second shooting happened. Just like what Kelsey was saying, the FBI told us in their press conference that the shooter opened fire at that military reserve center and then drove about 7 miles until they got here to Amnicola Highway. Now, the FBI says the shooter was killed here, but they weren't clear if the shooter was killed by police or if it was a self-inflicted wound. Now, we still don't know a lot about the shooter, like his background, where he's from, if he was associated to the military at all, but they do believe this is an isolated incident, and they're treating it actually as it's an act of domestic terror. But in order to determine whether it's an act of terror, they have to determine the cause. So that's where they are now. They're looking into what motivated this shooter to commit this crime. Now, I talked to some business owners in this area who were on lockdown for several hours this morning after the shooting, but most of those businesses are back up and open. The flights at the Chattanooga airport are up and running again. However, Chattanooga State Community College, which is right across the street here, is closed for the day. Now, Amnicola Highway was closed all afternoon. We saw it open up just a few minutes ago, and you can see right over my shoulder where these police officers are. You see the yellow tape, lines of police officers. That's likely where the second shooting was. Reporting live in Chattanooga, Brittany Nada, VLT, Local 8 News.
All right, Brittany, thank you. And as you can tell, there's a lot going on in that area right now. Senators Bob Corker and Lamar Alexander both spoke on the floor of the Senate soon after the shootings. They expressed their grief over what happened in Chattanooga.
I've been in touch with federal, state, and local officials and will continue to monitor the situation closely. My thoughts and prayers are with all those involved.
Okay, so that was obviously in Washington.
Yeah, and as we heard Kelsey talk about earlier, people are already starting to make a makeshift memorial there outside where all of these soldiers were shot and some of them killed. You can see the flowers there, an American flag, and of course a cameraman just taking pictures to put on their news. But right there behind them, you can see the bullet holes in the doors that went through the Reserve Center recruiting office. I mean, a place where they work, their co-workers went down. Just a few moments ago, we saw a soldier on the phone. Possibly his coworker was one of the ones either injured or killed, and he's having to deal with that as well. So the families as well as the coworkers.
Yeah, and it's a live look right now, and obviously you saw Kelsey Layer going through there, going closer up and visiting with some of the people and getting some of the information. But much more on this as we go through the evening of the devastating story so close to home, just down 75 over in Chattanooga.